doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Welcome to the People's Weekly on peoplesradiounited.com. I'm here with Glenn, Canadian Glenn today. What's up, Glenn?
Yar.
Yar. So yeah, let's we started a little late. We got a couple guests that will be coming on today to talk about the various things going on. But what's going on with the view up here before we start?
Well, just the usual, as we'll get into as this show goes on. As you mentioned, quote-unquote, issues. I expect my show next week to be directly related to the latest Twitter purge. Otherwise, just roll with it. Nothing special coming up.
Okay. And that's Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, right?
Correct.
So yeah, if you're up here Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, check it out. So yeah, both of our guests are kind of busy and they're going to jump in when they can. So we're going to start off talking about immigration yet again. Reports of children still locked in cages over 72 hours, nooses hanging in cells, families being separated. Does the United States have concentration camps? And what can we do to stop this abomination and blatant violation of human rights? It's a big one.
Well, I think one of the biggest differences in this, when you want to look at history for other nations where this has gone on, of course, you know which one everybody looks to first, but the difference in Nazi Germany, that was a state enterprise. They used contractors for products, for poisons, stuff like that, but it was run by the government. Now in the U.S., it's pretty much completely privatized, which is, if you can believe it, if you look at the doctrines of fascism, that's even more fascist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did the whole show about those, talking about, corporations come up, the 14 tenets of fascism. But, yeah, that's sick, though. I mean, that shouldn't be allowed to happen. You got private companies. There were nooses hanging. These people are living in terrible conditions, being abused, and they say, sorry, we'll fix it, and it won't happen again. You know it's going to happen again. They just are trying not to get caught again.
Well, the issue is they say they're going to fix something, but there's absolutely no way for the public to see if they did anything. Yeah,
we have no transparency.
No, because, well, that's a private corporation. We can't reveal that information. How convenient for you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But as far as what's going on, I mean, there has been another spike in the stories of preschoolers having to sign legal forms, appear in court. Like, this is just insane. I'm not aware of anywhere where this has happened before to this degree. To not even bother to have some puppet stand beside a child as a so-called representative, which is just there to fuck the children anyway, but they don't even bother with that now. I mean, this is just so blatantly, callously lazy. Persecution's all that matters.
I mean,
quicker, cheaper, move it.
Historically, separating children from parents is the thing they've done with Native children. They've taken them and black people when they were slaves, they snatched their children and sell them.
Yeah.
But now they they try to have papers and stuff to make it seem so civilized, but it's the same thing. You're snatching people that you deem lesser than human than you, and you're tearing their families apart, destroying their lives because they crossed some line. And Stephen Miller's like, this is a great deterrent. We got to keep doing it. We got to go more and more. We got literal Nazis running things. We got literal Nazis running more than just Twitter.
Well, the thing that gets me is, nothing's changed about the overall illegality and the violations of human rights. But what's changed is getting, according to every law there is, you're not legally responsible for yourself until in some countries it's 14, some are 16, a lot are 18. And these are preschool kids who are signing a piece of paper in a court of law, likely in a language that they don't know. And this is supposed to be justification. It's, oh yeah, everything's by the book. Like,
yeah, well,
what?
how many kids that age know their home language? You know what I mean? Their native language, to enough to write it. They know how to speak it, but to write it, no, come on, and read it on a legal form. They're little children.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if there's a kid that's preschool that is primarily English language, the kid's not of legal age. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
How does this count for anything? This is basically suspension of the Constitution. It is suspension of habeas corpus. Like, this is ridiculous. This is back to the 13th century.
Yeah, it definitely it's some archaic stuff they doing. I'm gonna tweet out this show real quick. But what do you think we can do, or anyone can do? Because the government doesn't care. They're selling the contracts to get these places up and running, and paying these people to run the concentration camps privately, as you said. But what can be done to stop it, if anything? Because it doesn't seem like anyone's doing anything solid. But I'm going to tweet the show out real quick.
Well, I think I have seen a couple things about, state attorneys, individual U.S. states, their Secretary of State taking actions against the federal government. I mean, this is one of the basic foundations of the American Republic. The states can set their limits. So, it's the same thing with how in many U.S. states now marijuana is legal, but federally it's not. It's still a Schedule I drug. But, it's going on. So, I mean, it may be a matter, especially with midterms and all the elections going on, that people in those states that are not down with this kind of shit and don't want some money printing prison in their state, it's up to them to elect people within their state government that will do something about it. I think that's the only recourse right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in that.
We'll see how far this goes, because remember when they tried this shit in Colombia in the 90s with the cartels and the huge cocaine wars, and they keep just picking people up and putting them in a prison, picking them up, putting them in a prison. Sooner or later, you know what's going to happen. There's going to be a huge either prison riot, or there will be a combination riot-prison break with people on the inside and the outside. You can go back 1,000 years. Anytime there's an overtly oppressive prison, there's going to be lashback. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it just seems like here in the United States, if the Democrats take over, let's say they took over everything, it would still be happening. It would just, people wouldn't care as much because they say, oh, these Democrats are so great and all this and that. And now, and okay, before it was on a smaller scale, but now it's already boosted up. So it's going to be at least this way, and it'll probably get worse under whoever's in charge. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm saying both parties profit off this. They're both corrupt. They both love these corporations that run these prisons.
Yeah, but you have to. There's information that we don't know. I mean, okay, what are these contracts for private prison corporations signing with DHS? What are these contracts worded like? Are they a minimum that it doesn't matter if there's a change in government, you're going to get paid? I mean, that's a common thing these days. So, I mean,
I would assume it would be for amount of time, wouldn't you think?
yeah, but how long? Because the federal government of the day does have the power to sign contracts past their mandate, past an election date.
Like, isn't this public information that somebody can get?
No, because it's with a private corporation.
But they're being paid by our tax dollars, so...
Well, that's the cop-out, though, because in the United States, corporations are people, according to the Supreme fucking Court. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I mean, that's another thing, too. There's been 35 years setting this bullshit up, and it's just like anything else. You build a car in your garage for 3 years. When it's ready to go, you roll it out. Maybe, you know, and the rollout is happening.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better, if it gets better.
I mean, being Canadian, I just can't fathom this. I mean, it's just not how things are done. But, you know, like everything else, American, it leaks over the border. And I don't know if you've heard, but in the city of Toronto, I mean, ever since Trump was elected, Canada has had a problem with irregular border crossings from the United States. Like thousands of more people a year are crossing our border at not points of entry, which means you're immediately subject to arrest. You put in your claim, and you're taken away. But, you know, none of the right-wing parties in Canada want to talk about how this never happened until Trump got elected. But it's gotten to the point now where in the city of Toronto, there's an entire hotel, a Radisson, that houses nothing but these irregular border crossers. And there was an attempt at arson at this hotel. So, I mean, you know, it's spreading. And it's not really based on anything. It's just, you know, fear. This fear narrative bullshit. You know, I've seen a couple interviews or, you know, articles already with the Canadian media going into this hotel and talking to the refugees. And they're fucking scared shitless. You know? They had to leave the U.S. because Trump's going to throw them out, and they didn't want to go back home. Or some of them, I mean, some of these people have been in the U.S. for 8 or 10 years, legally.
Right.
Legally. But now, because Trump says, fuck you, it's like, well, we're going to Canada. We can't go home. We're going to die if we go home. So they come here, and they're in hotels, and you can imagine what that's like. There are families. Apparently there was over 200 women and children in this hotel. But, you know, they don't know what to do. A lot of these people already established a life in the United States. You know, they weren't off the boat, quote unquote, anymore. But now they are again. And somebody's trying to burn them out of their fucking hotel.
I mean, hey, Nix is here right now. We're gonna bring you in on the next subject.
No problem.
So the people leave. They have a choice of staying in their country and being slaughtered and their whole family killed, maybe, or forced to do some kind of things they don't want to do. Come here and get locked into a concentration camp, or try to run to Canada where they might be in a hotel that's going to get torched. What a life, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, and I mean, this is the thing that is never mentioned in the last 2 years in the United States. I can never remember 2 year span in U.S. history in my lifetime where I haven't seen on TV or on the internet or something. At least once in that year, you're going to see the old quote about the Statue of Liberty. Your huddled masses. You know, and there's still people all around the world that think that's the United States, and it ain't. You know?
Yeah, they're gonna rewrite the inscription. It's gonna say the white huddled masses, white wealthy huddled masses.
Yeah,
bring us your white wealthy huddled
keeping
masses.
warm with money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But what can be done? You know, I mean, I have no idea. I'm not even in that country, so.
Yeah, people from other countries believe that. I think people here pretty much know they're not trying to bring any huddled masses or sick or weak or, you know what I mean?
It's a slogan.
Yeah, it's a slogan. They made it very clear. We want the richest and the whitest we can get here, and everybody else can just stay where they're at and die.
Yep.
That's pretty much what they blatantly said.
And for half the world, there's a good chance that when you do die, it will be an American-supplied arm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the American government will get their money out of them one way or another.
They always do.
No doubt.
Yeah. Next week, we're gonna probably have a part of the show dedicated to Serena Shim and that whole tragedy because
that's excellent.
Yeah, because it falls on the 19th, which was the day she was murdered.
Yep.
But yeah, so let me introduce Nix. She's here for the next topic, and it's about Jeremy Hammond. There's a lot of misinformation going around about the anti-fascist hactivist Jeremy Hammond. There are attempts by fascists online to assassinate his character and question his integrity. Today we're going to set the record straight. So that's why Nancy's on here. I mean, Nix is on here. Nancy, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you wanna. I know you wanna talk about. You know, people are saying that he stands for free speech of Nazis and racists, and I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff online lately. And the one thing I know, I mean, I've always known about Jeremy Hammond is he's an anti-fascist.
Yeah, yeah, hardcore Antifa. I mean, you know, those are in his own words. I don't know how many people this week got to read or reread Janet Reitman's story on Jeremy that was written in 2012 after his arrest, but before he was sentenced, and she did a really long piece in Rolling Stone. It's called Enemy of the State, The Rise and Fall of Jeremy Hammond. And there's a lot of quotes in there, you know, directly from him, his stance on, he doesn't
You're breaking up
specifically talk about Antifa. Let me move.
Okay. Yeah, we can hardly hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, he's, you know, in his own words, you know, he said, I've never made a secret, you know, that I'm Antifa and I'm an anarchist. I'm also a communist, an anarcho-communist. There seems to be a big push on Twitter in the last few weeks to go after people who support Antifa. So there's been a number of discussions as to where Hammond would stand on, you know, Antifa. And I think it's clear where he stands if you look at his own words. The article is a great place to start. There was a long discussion about whether or not, you know, Antifa would be considered, you know, kind of a repression of free speech. Someone pulled up his words on Op ISIS. And the interesting thing about Op ISIS was that Jeremy actually more or less came out, I don't want to say against it, but he didn't come out in support of it. And one of the reasons for that was because there was a feeling at the time that op-ISIS might be an op that was a government op, and that anonymous should not be used as a cover for government ops. So Jeremy got wind of that, and in fact, about 2 months previously, I had been interviewed by an academic in Australia who asked me what I would think about the federal government going in as anonymous to fight ISIS, and in return, or hiring hackers to do that, in return giving them immunity. And I said, well, my first thought is that Jeremy Hammond, collected foreign intel for the federal government, and he's sitting 10 years in prison. So I think that there was a big difference in his mind. I'm not trying to speak for him, but reading what I can read into what he said, there was a big difference in his mind between op-ISIS, for instance, and op-KKK. Op-KKK didn't look to be co-opted. So it didn't look to him like, it looked like a different kind of op-ISIS. And I think it was.
Our government has kind of always publicly backed the KKK and not so much ISIS.
Well, I think the difference there is KKK was domestic, and I mean that's something that's always
true.
It's always been very important to Jeremy. Jeremy knows there are serious problems in the United States,
right?
Yeah,
and that would be his priority. And right. I agree with his mindset that now we're talking about this boogeyman over in that part of the world that we can't seem to stop bombing. Yeah, that's totally a different mindset. So, I mean, people trying to do apples and oranges, why?
Yeah. Well, I find it really interesting that, the Antifa movement is, being cast as some kind of anti-free speech movement. That's just so far from the truth. I mean, what you're dealing with Antifa is people who are looking to defend. They're looking to defend. Everything has been twisted.
That's the thing.
It's all backwards.
Well,
we brought. Oh, go ahead, Brent.
Free speech is not hate speech.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's the whole deal.
Yeah, we've said this a million times on this same show. Free speech, as is written in the Constitution, is for dissent against the government. It's for you to be able to say, my government sucks, we need to fix something. Or
exactly.
I hate my government. It's not for you to be able to go and scream racist stuff in the streets unopposed with taxpayer dollars protecting you with militarized gear to do it. That was never the intention of free speech as the First Amendment. It was for dissent. So unlike other countries where you say something bad about your government, you get disappeared and taken away, which is happening more and more here too, or killed or whatever. You're supposed to be protected from that. But these jackasses take it and twist it to say, oh, I want to be able to say every kind of racial slur I can in the streets and not get socked in the face for it. Why are you invading on my free speech? And that's what anti-fascists do. They take away my free speech to scream my racist slogans.
This is the big problem with Antifa. Antifa is militaristic at times, and the far right does not like the left to be, advocating open carry, concealed carry. They are scared shitless of the fact that the left is willing to defend. That doesn't go with the program of the liberal weakling, and I think that the push that we're seeing on Twitter and other social media, that's like, peace and love and, passive resistance, that is out of being really, really scared that Antifa is willing to take a somewhat militaristic defensive stance, including the use of carry. So that doesn't go, with the idea of the right's idea of leftists.
Yeah, well, the thing is that it's total cowardice, like you said, and fear, because the thing is they want to be the ones with all the weapons, always attacking, always being violent. and someone says, no, we can be just as violent, we can stop your violence with our violence, all of a sudden, whoa, we're not the only ones with the guns, we're not the only ones everyone's scared of. Now we have someone we're scared of.
Right.
You know,
it doesn't fit the narrative.
I've seen busloads of people in terror when the Klan was coming. These people have wreaked terror on this country for decades and decades, maybe centuries. You know what I mean? These white supremacist, fascist kind of
Absolutely.
people.
Right.
So, you know, and now someone stands up to them, and all of a sudden they're fearful. I mean, they've always hid behind the police. They're always scared unless they outnumber people or unless they have bigger weapons. That's their game. They're a bunch of cowards.
Well,
we said it a million times.
I think the way to compare this is, I mean, the far right has always been a small minority in every society. They always are. The difference is, just like in Germany, just like in Spain, just like other places in the past, that little sliver has managed to get in there and change everything.
Right.
And the deal is, now it's just, there's too many tangents that they can do this. I mean, you know, back in the 20th century, there was only a limited number of ways that the government could do this, and most of it had to be with direct physical force. Not anymore. Not anymore. You can kill somebody's internet. You can arrest them. There's a million ways for them to get shit done in a hurry.
Right.
And that's the issue as far as I'm concerned.
Let me tell you this. Since Columbus Day, what they want to call it, Genocide Day, whatever, was on Monday. This kind of sums it up. This is a quote from Columbus himself. As soon as I arrived in the Indies on the first island which I found, I took some of the natives by force in order that they might learn and might give me information of whatever there is in these parts. They do not bear arms and do not know them. Oh, they do not bear arms and do not know them. For I showed them a sword. They took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They have no iron. Their spears are made of cane. They could have made fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. That's pretty much the way they think, still.
That is the way they think. That's a perfect quote. You know, the last time passive resistance, and people didn't stand up to neo-Nazis, Nazis, the far right, didn't go so well. So the people out there criticizing Antifa tactics should really think twice, I mean, almost every well-known, publicized domestic terror attack, not dealing with ISIS or anything like that, has come from the far right. And yet Far Left Watch, which, is a big account on Twitter, loves to, say how violent Antifa is. But all we've seen, all of these attacks have come from the far right. Again, it's all twisted. They've managed to completely twist it back upon itself.
Well, that's misinformation. That's,
And it works. It works really well.
It's always worked.
Right. This week we saw a lot, we saw doxing by video and on paste bins of a bunch of Antifa supporters, like this is supposed to, cool us out, which it doesn't. Nobody cares. Most of us are not anonymous anymore. And the ones that, some of the bigger accounts, we don't, nobody cares. Most people that I know who are willing to stand up for Antifa are willing to attach their name to it. Period. I'm proud.
Yeah.
I mean, why? This is not even like a question for me. And to bring it back to Hammond, when I saw him a couple months ago, his political stance, in my opinion, has not changed one iota.
Yep.
He has not. He didn't say anything illegal. He didn't promote any illegal activity. But his political stance, I think, was written in his DNA. So I don't see that changing. I didn't see any change when I was there. He's who he is, and they attack him because he is central. He's an inspiration for a lot of people.
Well, I think the one thing about that whole supposition that they made about Jeremy. I mean, I'm familiar with Jeremy, what he's done, what he stands for, what he's had to say over the years. And for anybody to say that, Jeremy would be against fighting any sort of oppression is ridiculous. Because, as Jeremy said in his statement before sentencing, to paraphrase him, you can send me away. I come out, I'm going right back where I was. Fuck you guys.
Right. That's been anyone that wants to know his history with fighting anti-fascists, all they have to do is go look at his Wikipedia article, And it gives you, he's been arrested for these activities before, the hacking, he's dedicated. I mean, that's not going to change. And again, he's a powerful, symbolic figure, besides being a great human being. And, I didn't see any change in his stance. He looked great, by the way. He was in the RADP program, which was going to take some time off of his sentence, but unfortunately he was removed from the program 2 weeks after I visited. So he's got that time back. We don't know his release date yet. At freejeremy.net, that's his official account. So for updates on him, people can go and check out the account. I think Grace, will know when he gets his new release date. We'll be able to say what that is, but I don't know what it's gone back to.
Actually, just when you were saying that, I thought of, I just saw a parallel. So what we have here is people who are claiming representation or authority, making claims of people who cannot respond or verify their own shit. Where have we seen that in the last year? And didn't seem to work out so well for them at the end of the day. So, I mean, people who are within the community, think about that. Think about the parallels there. This is the same bullshit that a former management group of an organization tried for years.
Right.
And they finally got caught at it.
Well, the difference between now and then is that now we've been around, a lot of us, for enough time where we have a very solid core of people that we can depend on for reliable information. And that includes, people on the West Coast, people in the Midwest, people on the East Coast, people overseas. I mean, we now have a very solid network, which we really didn't have. It took 10 years, to get this going. So those are the people. You can get 10 strong people, in your collective, in your cell, and whatever you want to call it. And those 10 people, if they're bonded and they trust one another, and we have that now, can really put to bed a lot of this bullshit. And that's what we have to keep doing.
You're giving away secrets.
Well, let's say give or take 10, okay? But you know what I'm saying. I mean, we know each other. There's a lot of people who've been around for a while. It's not like 5 years ago where everybody was super anonymous and you didn't really know who to trust. You know what I mean? There's a lot less wading through extraneous material.
Yeah, but I think the true history is that's the way it's always been. I mean, if the public at large understood how few people were actually hands-on involved with some historic events, they'd be shocked.
They probably would.
Yeah. But, that's a tangent. We don't do those.
Since when? I just think we're like at 25% less because Nolan's feeling under the weather today, so he didn't make it. You know, me and Nolan
That's
take up
too bad.
about Nolan's 25%. I'm probably 50, and Glenn's 10 on the tangent thing.
I'm 0 on the tangent, so you know.
Yeah,
I'm a non-tangent.
No nonsense.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you're going to dedicate some time to Serena Shim. I was going to ask you about that, so I've been really wanting to get that going, and I'm so happy that you're on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, the show just happened to fall on that day, so I didn't think it'd be.
It's a natural.
Yeah, like I can't let it go.
Yeah, it's great.
About it.
It's great. Just as a quick update, and then I'll let you guys tangent. But we got a couple other people I just wanted to make people aware of. We got Timothy French, who was arrested as part of Null Crew, taken down by a snitch several years ago. He's back in prison in Kentucky in the BOP system until January. He could use a little support, and we also have Akron Phoenix 420. He is solid. I talked to him on the phone the other day. I was lucky enough to get a call finally from him. He's waiting for his next court date. We don't know when it is. He could use a little support. But my reading into him is that he's standing strong, and the Cleveland FBI can go fuck themselves because he's not giving up anything. That's my reading into that.
Yeah, the Akon and Nons are pretty solid.
Those guys up in Akron, and also they're putting together their Million Mask March. I'm backing that through Free Anons. I don't know a lot about the other marches. I'm confident in Akron. They're super solid, super great people. So yeah, they're good ones.
Yeah, we're gonna do our yearly annual Live on the 5 thing. But as far as People's Radio, it's going to be more about activism and less about that mask and all that this year.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I think you'll see a little bit of I think you'll see actually a lot of that.
Well, I just think it's naturally going back to the iconic value of the mask, not any interpretation of the mask.
Exactly. Right.
I mean,
that's exactly it.
The 5th is the perfect day to have shows about perhaps history of the movement, perhaps legal matters that are at the core of what the mask stands for. I mean, just use it as the beacon. Don't try and wrap yourself in it. Just,
Right. It's a symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one other thing about latest prison news. Connor Stevens of the Cleveland Four, who, by the way, was taken down by the same U.S. attorney and FBI agent that took down Phoenix 420, is getting released from prison soon. That was an entrapment case out of Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So he is looking at a release date pretty soon. So we're going to do our best to support that and get him. I've had to repeat this 1,000 times over the last several months. We at Free Anons do not take donations anymore. We did at one point, and it was too complicated, and I got tired of dealing with the IRS. So we don't do it. We direct everybody to people's individual funds. So anyone that wants to support Cleveland 4 can, head on over to their site, donate to those guys, write to them. That was a real intense entrapment case,
I like that a lot better.
Study it.
Advocacy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I like to know the money goes right to where it's supposed to go.
Me too.
Instead of, yeah.
Me too. And if anybody sees anything that has a Free Anons, brand, so to speak, look, anyone can use the name Free Anons. I don't own that. Nobody owns it. I don't even know if I want to own it. I mean, that kind of goes against, the the idea of anonymous. But if anyone sees donations, the only thing that we have done is a book drive, and those books go directly to the prisoners. If anyone sees any open fundraising activities,
you're breaking
that
up
have
again.
The brand on them.
We can't hardly hear you.
If anyone sees any, sorry, can you hear me better?
Yeah, go ahead again. Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to make this last point. If anybody sees any donation campaigns with a Free Anons brand, stamped on there, we have no access to those. We have no access to anything that happens on Facebook Free Anons. We do not do, and I do not oversee or have access as a lawyer or as an individual to any donation campaigns. So I want to make that really clear. People seem to be confused about that because I think there's still a couple of fundraisers hanging out around there, and those are not monitored by us. So be careful. I'm not saying they're bad. I can't vouch for them.
Yeah, they're a lot of people asking for money are scam artists anyway, as we've seen time and time and time again, using the anonymous name to ask for money. That's something you're not supposed to do anyway.
Yeah.
You want to ask for money, ask for it on your own platform. Don't use the anonymous name or whatever.
Right.
It's supposed to be a no-no, but so many people do it. And lately, I think they let more and more people get away with it. People used to get attacked for that.
Well, in the beginning, it kind of made sense because I was asked to set up a corporation for Free Anons because we didn't have the means that we have now and the reach and social media to direct people. And there were emergencies, like with PayPal 14, they didn't have money to get to court. I very reluctantly set up, that donation corporation and showed all our figures, showed our sworn IRS figures. I did that for 2 years, but there's no need for that now because now we have the reach to just direct people right over to people's personal campaigns, and there's a lot more credibility there. And then we don't have to, have people worrying, where is the money going,
Everything has changed since then, and it's only been, 5-6 years.
Right. Right.
But everything has changed with that kind of thing.
Yes. Yep.
But I mean, that's what I think the real goal of Free Anons was and should always be. It's advocacy. There are so many tools out there for people to use.
Right.
Just be the nexus. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. And if they need a lawyer, they can. I'm always pro bono. I never take a fee or a referral, ever, because it puts me in conflict with the entire collective. So I've never done that. But I can't represent anyone in court because again, that puts me in conflict with maybe others who might get arrested on the same case or whatever. So they can call and they can get, legal support from me. They can get, maybe some help with finding a pro bono lawyer. We can help them promote their own legal accounts if they want to set one up. Stuff like that. And also we continue, and this is really important, we continue to be an ad hoc counterintelligence resistance to efforts from the federal government and other governments besides the United States to infiltrate Anonymous. That's one of our main goals.
Right on.
Yep. So our next guest isn't here yet. So anything else you want to add about Jeremy or any of that before we move on? And Nix, you're more than welcome to stay, or if you need to go, you can go after this topic. It's totally up to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll probably go since I got people here wanting dinner.
Okay.
But no, the only other thing about Jeremy is, it was a really great visit. I waited 7 years to get up there, and I didn't want to spend the money, because it was needed in so many different places. And, people like Tim French can't even get like dollars for a phone call, but I had to do it. I really wanted to make the connection. He looked very, very good. I've gotten an email from him since then. And while he's, I guess, I'm sure not happy to have been kicked out of the program, I think that he feels that he's going to just deal with what comes along, and he looked great. He really did. I know he's struggling. It's not easy to be on the 7th year of a 10-year bid, but he is really holding up well. So I thought he looked really good. He could still use a lot of support, letters, books. Yeah. He'd be the first to tell you that if there's somebody else in need, more than him, please, support those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Well, cool.
And again,
go ahead.
Well, I just want to say again, and here are these clowns online that want to purport what Jeremy believes.
Right.
Fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. Fuck off. Yeah.
This is
exactly.
Someone. If I'm correct in this is somebody that could have maybe had a chance at getting some leniency, but said he didn't regret anything he did. He only wished he had done more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giving him no chance of getting any leniency. I mean, that's a warrior.
Right.
That's a warrior.
Yeah.
That's called real ethics.
Yeah,
Integrity.
It is. Yeah. And they're in short supply, so we, going to stick with those people.
Yeah. Yeah, the people trying to assassinate his character couldn't hold a candle to him.
No.
Yeah.
Not in a million years.
No.
Oh, well, just more internet fuckery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
We're kind of pretty much experts on that. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
It was good we got an update and set the record straight on a few things about Jeremy, because he's not here on the outside to be able to do it for himself right now.
Right. Anytime. I'm always happy to give an update on whoever's in need, or if you need any information on whoever's whatever latest is on arrests or investigations. I'm always happy to do it.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, on Twitter you can follow @FreeAnons. It's a good account to follow, and if you need help, those are the people that are going to be there to help you, probably.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure thing, guys. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Glenn, next topic is... Well, let me check real quick and see what's up with the guest. Nothing yet. It was kind of last minute. We were supposed to have PM Beers coming on to talk about internet censorship, because most of you know she's a journalist, and Twitter just wiped out her account and a whole bunch of accounts she was administrator on or something. Nobody knows why. As far as we know, as of yesterday when it happened, nobody knows why. They didn't give a reason. Yeah, and Facebook and there was a whole bunch of purges going on yesterday of any kind of media that might be critical of the government getting shut down. And what do we call that, Glenn?
Fascism.
There you go. So, she's added here. Let me just make sure she's still added here.
Well, I mean, it's been like 12 hours or 24 hours now since this started.
Yeah, if it rings real quick, I'm just trying to make sure she's added so she can get in if she needs to.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
But from the emails that have been shared and stuff, I mean, yeah, I've seen these emails. I mean, the thing that always gets me about what finally triggers people on Twitter to say that Twitter is fucked up is when it hits the bright lights. But this stuff's been going on in the background for a couple years now, where all of a sudden somebody doesn't want an account to exist. Boom, it's gone.
Well, I mean, they took Anani Info and a whole bunch of domestic terrorism accounts down yesterday as well. It wasn't just media people. They took down other media.
Yep.
LA People's Media. They took down one of RebZ TV.
Yep.
So many accounts. I'm just thinking of the ones I could think of right now. I mean, it's terrible. And most of these accounts weren't threatening anybody. Weren't doing anything crazy.
No, but the common thing about a lot of them is they're 20,000 plus in follows.
Yeah, they were influential.
That's what I'm saying. This is when people finally wake up. But for the 5,000, 2,500, 1,500 accounts, this has been going on for a very long time. And nobody said shit then.
Yeah.
It happened to me. I lost 2 accounts because of that. Because they felt like it. They stole them.
And that was for promoting a Million Mass March.
Well, who knows what it was really about?
Well, they took those are the accounts they took besides your view up here. They took the Live on the 5 accounts.
Yep. Which had its own address, its own website, its own everything. The reason they took it is because they either used my IP or my MAC address and suspended every account that I had accessed in like the last month. And that's exactly what they did to Patty.
Oh man, that's insane.
And that happened to me 2 fucking years ago.
Yeah,
so,
I remember. It was tragic. You were devastated for a while after that.
Well, they had me over a barrel. That was November 3rd. What was I supposed to do?
They gave you a choice, right, to keep one of the 2 accounts or 3 accounts?
I could keep 1. That's it. So, I mean, of course I'm going to pick the one that I started in 2010. You know?
Yeah.
It's just we know you're taking this one, so we're just telling you that we're stealing these. Thanks for playing. You don't like it? Delete your fucking account. Go away. You know, it's nothing new, but at least now, like everything else, they seem to be getting a little more out front about it. Now people notice. But then, to be fair, Alex Jones had millions of followers. I certainly wasn't too concerned when they purged that shit. It's just come back around, maybe, that's all. I mean, power is power, right? They hate everybody on the outside.
Yeah, I am talking to our guest right now. I'm going to try to give her 5 or 6 more minutes, and then I should be able to get hold of her, I'm thinking.
All right. Well, then let's go to number 4.
Okay. I'm going to it right now. Do you have it in front of you, or?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I'm trying to. I got too much stuff going. Can you read it? Because I can't find it for another 2 seconds. Go ahead.
Everybody seems to be so excited that the multi-billion-dollar company Amazon is going to begin paying their workers $15 an hour. Employees are losing bonuses, benefits, and hours because basically Amazon refuses to cut their margin and take away scheduled raises for their executives. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, part of the corporate slave mentality, I guess. And, that's the thing. If this was, say, even in the 70s, the press would be like, oh, really? Fuck you guys. This is ridiculous. Pay these people. But we're not in the 1970s. We're here. And that's why,
Yeah, they killed the unions here a long time ago.
Yep.
They've been chipping away at the unions for what, like 40 years now, 50 years. So workers have no rights anymore. The corporations, as you said, are people, and those people have all the rights.
I mean, even now, if the press would shit on Amazon instead of just reprinting their press releases, you wouldn't get this big reaction, you know? It's because the corporate press prints their press releases, that's what gets the reaction.
This guy,
and I guess that generates money.
This guy's the richest guy. I don't know how many billions he's worth. I mean, how sick a person are you to have more money than you and most of your ancestors will ever spend, and you don't kick it back down to the people who make it for you? You let them live in poverty?
He is chairman, but you got to remember, there's 12 or 15 old white greedy bastards that sit around their board table, and even if he did want to not do this, the rest of those old bastards are going to say, fuck you. We're on the board. We say no. Make it up somewhere else. You know? I mean, that possibility is there. And I would expect it. I expect all 12 of those assholes to say, let's claw back that margin. Because that's how they are. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's crazy, though.
Oh, it is crazy.
It's like they want slavery, but they can't have it. Not the way they want full out old school slavery. But they can't have that, so they're going to take whatever they can because they don't want to pay anybody anything. They want to just exploit people and rob them blind and take everything they can and get rich off it. And that's the way they do it with resources, they do it with people, they do it with everything. Just suck the life out of everything so we can profit, and who cares? It's really the wrong attitude to have.
Oh, it's almost like they know that there ain't all that much time left or something.
I don't know, because if that was the case, then what good is the billions of dollars?
Well, it's a race to the finish line.
We're all going to die, so the one with the most money can cheer before he goes.
Yeah, a race to the finish line, and the finish line is a brick wall.
There you go. Blam.
But yeah, you know, it's just ridiculous to me that a company can be this big and have tens of thousands of employees and controls who knows how many billions of dollars in sales, probably a week. I don't think that's a stretch. I bet you Amazon does $1 billion a week. I can see that. You know, they got their own fucking TV channel and all that shit. They probably do $1 billion a week. And $15 is a sacrifice? Wow. But of course, government has to be cut because that's a waste. Where's all the money going? When Amazon does it, well, it's just great business model.
So I was muted. I'm trying to...
Still trying.
Yeah, well, you know, I had the wrong Skype.
That could make a difference.
So let's see what happens here.
I think the question is, because it's Amazon, I think the issue is because it's Amazon, is this like some sort of new starting point? If Amazon will do it, you know, especially if in the end, you know, I wonder if with what they're taking away and the little bit they have to pay out, are they actually making money by doing this in 3 years or 5 years? If they are, then this same thing is going to happen somewhere else. Oh yeah, we've decided to give people $15 an hour.
Yeah, but I mean, the cost of living is so high that's not even enough to live on, man. And then you don't have benefits. Now they're taking away all your bonuses because we're basically got to pay everyone with your own. You know, we're going to take away your bonuses and give you a little bit more here. It makes no sense, man.
Well, it does if you live in a fascist state.
Yeah,
You know,
we keep
it's like,
coming to
okay,
that in the same
you
word.
want 15? 15's that magic number? You got to have 15? Here's your fucking 15. You got no benefits. Was it worth it?
And you can't work full time ever.
And that's their attitude. And it's the government that lets this happen.
Yes.
The governments from FDR all the way to Nixon, that simply wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be allowed. It wouldn't be allowed. Period.
Yeah, so we have PM Beers in here now, like we were just talking about. She's here to talk about the Twitter purge and specifically what happened to her. So, are you there? Hello? Maybe.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. Is there a lot of loud background noise?
There is. That's a little better.
Okay, I'll go. Hold on one second. Let me come back in 1 minute.
Okay. So yeah, she's here to talk about what we were talking about a few minutes ago, the Twitter purge. It took her account, tons of accounts. Anani Info was one of the ones that we know that we've had on our show before. We've had her on our show before. RebZ TV. Any other ones, Glenn, you could think of?
Global Rev got taken down along with the founder, whose name escapes me for the moment.
RebZ. Oh, no.
Say what you would.
It's Vlad Tesh. Sorry, it's Vlad who's
Yeah.
Vlad T who's Twitter got taken down. Vlad Teishberg.
Correct. You're probably more fluent with the specifics than I am, so please, Patty, go ahead.
Okay, so yesterday, I don't know how much you guys talked about this whole subject so far, but yesterday about 800 pages got taken down off of Facebook, and most of those were independent media sites, and I guess Facebook, I don't know, and I actually work for one of those sites, and then that was in the morning, and then later around 4 o'clock, a whole bunch of Twitter accounts got taken down, including Anti-Media, the company that I work for. Their Twitter got taken down, my Twitter got taken down, so many other people's Twitters got taken down, and it's all people working in independent media. So I guess it's people who are covering political news or doing political activism. And all of these people in all of these sites, the Facebooks and the Twitters, like the one thing that they all have in common is that they're anti-authoritarian, they're anti-government, they go completely against the mainstream. And I don't know if they all tell the truth, but because I don't know all the accounts, but they're all definitely like anarchists or libertarians or people who don't buy into the two-party system and the mainstream narrative. And don't believe police either.
Did Twitter send you anything or Facebook explaining or what happened, why they did it, or if you're going to be able to get accounts back?
So I did receive an email from Twitter, and it said that my account was suspended for violating a rule, which I don't know if I did or did not, but like the timing of all of these accounts like makes me think, how could we all have violated a rule at the same time?
A month before elections, you mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, like all of these, and that has been brought up in a lot of conversations, the October surprise, and I guess that means like right before the election something happens to distract people. But I think but these are all accounts that are not promoting two-party system. These are all accounts that are going against the two-party system. So that's interesting.
Yeah, because one of those two parties wants to be in charge, and if you're exposing how bad both parties are and corrupt, people are less likely to go out there and root for them as hardcore as they do, maybe.
Yeah, and some of my tweets, but before my Twitter was taken down, some of my last tweets were challenging or talking about why I think we should abolish Congress, specifically the Senate, but also Congress. So I'm talking about abolish the government, and then they take my Twitter down.
Yeah, but I say that all the time, and mine hasn't come down. But then Glenn said they're
Yeah,
targeting
it is interesting
Glenn said they're targeting bigger accounts, maybe.
Well, also, I mean, also, people who really haven't even used Twitter very much got taken down. People who, like, one of the editor-in-chief of Anti-Media, Carrie Weber, her Twitter account got suspended, and she rarely even uses it. And a bunch of people from Anti-Media, their Twitters got taken down as well. And I don't think Carrie would have broken any rules because she wouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, that just tells me that it is what I think in my mind. This is an algorithmic suspension. That's what's going on here. All these
break your rules.
Well,
you're breaking up, Patty.
If a lot of these anti-media people had logged into the anti-media account in whatever period of time,
I don't think they did. I think that the account was limited to a very few people, and I don't think everyone whose account got suspended had access to that account.
Okay, but I mean, you know, just like anybody can with the program can do something like a Maltego of where the conversations are, they can do the same thing.
One thing that might have happened, I don't know about the other people, but I definitely put out a tweet like supporting anti-media as not being fake news, because I think that was part of the thing, that these people are fake news or something. Yeah. And then I mentioned anti-media Twitter, and you know, and I talked about how, you know, I have to prove every fact I have.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the way Twitter is now with the API, especially for the people on the inside, you can set algorithms for a 3-letter word, you know? So.
Anyone who uses the word "and" will be banned.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we're sorry that happened to you and everybody else. I mean, like I said, there's still racists on there threatening people's lives. There's people, one dude was saying he felt that he should have the right to rape women. That account didn't get taken down permanently. It got taken down for being reported for like 12 hours. There was all kinds of stuff like this. There's people trolling people's families. And they're still
one thing that I'm concerned about is that I've had my account suspended before for breaking rules, and it's different this time. This time, I can get into my account. I can like look at tweets. I just can't interact with them, and it put my follower count down to 0. And it says I'm following 0 people, and that's just different. Like, aesthetically different. I don't know what the right word, but like, it's a different experience than in the past when my accounts were like just suspended, and then I could get back into them like within a day or 2.
Oh, I'm familiar with that, and that's on accounts that I know are permabanned, because I can't even delete the accounts. I can log in and look at it, and that's it.
So you're thinking I'm permanently banned?
Well, it fits the way their system works, you know. Especially if did it give you any rule that you broke or not, or was it blank?
No, it did not specify the rule. I've never been told what rule I've ever broken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'm sure everybody's going to know within, at the most, a week. You know, and if the account don't come back, it's not going to come back. And the reason they do that is because they keep the data, they tie up the handle, nobody can use that handle name, and it's just it's in stasis.
So would I be informed?
Well,
Would Twitter inform me that I'm permanently banned?
Nope, that's it. You won't hear another word probably. You'll just log in and it'll say you can't do anything. Look around.
but you were given the option to keep one. We just spoke about this a little while ago.
Well, they suspended 3 accounts that I had access to. And the rule they gave could be applied to any news organization on Twitter. But, they wanted to pick on me, and they said, you can keep one of your 3 accounts. And, Canadian Glenn, I started in September 2010. Gee, which one am I going to keep? So basically, they just said, we'll give you your account back. We're stealing the other 2. That was it. They knew which one I'd pick. It's like we got these 2. You can't use them anymore. Fuck you. You can keep your account. Whatever. But I mean, maybe they've moved past that now. They don't even allow that. Who knows? Maybe I have a friend somewhere in Twitter. It's the only reason I still have Canadian Glenn. Who knows? These fuckers.
Weren't you for a while? Weren't you critical of some woman who was the Twitter head of Canadian Twitter or something?
Well, I went when I got back on. Yeah, I went after her right away.
Is that before or after you got your account back? It was after.
That's after.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I was thinking maybe that's what got it, but never mind.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I really think what it was in my case was the MMM Live on the 5 account.
Yeah.
Because that account was only active for 36 hours and it was over 650 followers.
It was just a couple of us were lucky that we were too busy or too lazy to do it because it got passed around, and then Glenn caught it right when it was hot, I think.
Well, who knows? Maybe they were just waiting for me to log in.
I don't know. Yeah, that was crazy. Whoa, what's all this noise? Who is that? Hello? Oh, wow, okay.
Hey, now.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Was that noise on your end? Probably.
I'm outside in a busy street.
Oh, okay.
I was inside a restaurant, but they're playing music, so I came back outside.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, like I said, it's terrible what happened to you. Is there anything else you want to say or add? Or you want people to do to help? Or if you guys all, whoever, all the people that lost accounts, we'll promote them when they come back on with new accounts. But I'm sure you guys will get your followers back really quickly. Because a lot of
I definitely hope so. Yeah. I had some really great quotes that are at home and not with me now. But I guess what I wanted to say is that this really feels like a coordinated Orwellian political attack on free speech. And I think what all of these independent media people are doing is definitely supposed to be protected under the First Amendment, and these really are. Well, I know at least in the cases of the ones that I've worked with, Global Rev Live and Anti-Media and my accounts, this is definitely a free speech issue, and I don't feel like it's a rules issue. It just doesn't make sense, But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, they're trying to silence dissent. And as we just said, I'm not going to go back into it, but free speech is not about racist crap. It's about being able to stand up to your government and be critical.
It's about, and these really are about standing up to governments. And, anti-media is really, a lot of their work is, focused on war and, unjust wars and just the bullshit around that, and that's definitely redressing grievances against your government, and yeah, definitely.
Wow. So yeah,
But
well,
also, I feel like I got my tongue cut off.
Yeah.
yeah. That I mean,
See, I mean,
this happened. This happened before with a bigger purge when Intel Group went down and a bunch of other accounts.
Did they come
Uh,
back?
no, they were permanently banned.
see,
Uh,
Wow.
like I was talking about before, how previously fascism, its levers of imposing their will were limited. You know, it was mostly through physical force, but that ain't the case anymore. Look how they can silence people now. They don't have to find you and arrest you and put you in a jail. They just make your access go away.
yeah, but that I don't know. There's got to be a way to fight that. Like,
Well, yeah. I mean,
if you can get on. I don't know. I mean, it sucks, but it's like you on a free platform. They kind of have all to say, even though they're selling advertising off people and doing all this and that. They still can just wipe you out whenever you become a threat to whatever, you know. So the
well,
way
I mean,
is something like say Spreaker can't really ban you because you pay for it, but it's not like Twitter
well, they
is.
could. Oh yeah, don't worry, man. Spreaker can find a reason to terminate you if they want to. Damn rights they can.
Even if they pay, even if you're paying.
Yeah, they'll just say we're not taking your money no more. Go away.
Mm-hmm.
They have that right.
Yeah, I think they're too greedy to exert that.
Well, that all depends on who's asking that to happen. You know, I mean, this is the thing. Twitter is a publicly traded company owned by about 6 people, and you know, as we said, corporations are people, so they can do whatever the fuck they want.
I mean, we watched in real time how Twitter was wiping tweets off of the Serena Shin timeline.
Yeah.
And dropping the amount of people tweeting the hashtags. You know, they censor so much stuff already. This is just ridiculous. I mean, because here's the thing. Someone like PM Beers has spent how many years building this account?
Yep.
To make it what it is, out there filming, streaming things all the time, going to commission meetings, you know, just covering everything in Los Angeles so that people know what's really going on. Years and years, and then within one fell swoop, all that's gone. And she has to start building again, and a whole bunch of people are in the same position. It just seems like, you know, how much money did Twitter make advertising with those stupid ads, promoted ads they put on these people's big accounts? You know? It's like it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
Well, I mean, like I said, Twitter's publicly traded, but there's like 6 people own 95% of it. So, I mean, they run the show, and I don't think their motivation is to make money. It's to do with it what they want to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they're going to make money anyway out the bigger accounts, but it's, you know, I mean, when I say bigger, I mean the big celebrities and billions of people.
Oh, like that great prophet Ye?
Oh, man.
Tangent.
Oh, also on those Facebook accounts, some of the 5 largest independent media accounts that got their pages removed from Facebook yesterday, a bunch of those accounts, they have paid for ads and stuff to promote their stories and stuff. So they're like, those are Facebook's customers that are paying, and they got banned or removed or whatever.
Wow.
They better be getting a refund.
Yeah, some of them are wondering.
Yeah, one of them said they gave them like $1,500 or something. I was reading an article. Yeah, it's getting to the ridiculous point. But that's the thing, you know, keep the people stupid, and the people showing people what's going on in the streets on a big level, like actual journalists, citizen journalists, independent journalists, once they get big enough, shut them down too, because we don't want the people to know what's going on. I mean, just look at your account. It had you were showing all this corruption going on within these police commission meetings and the city council meetings, trying to shut down the speech of their own constituents, and trying to make sure the police can get away with all kinds of terrible things. And you're out there reporting on this and showing it live. Yeah, that's got to be something they don't want.
Yeah, and then it's weird how they were saying, like, especially with the Facebook pages, that it's about people making money off of their political opinions. But like that's legal, that's allowed, and that's protected by the Bill of Rights.
I mean,
it's bizarre
Fox News does it,
they're
CNN
bringing
does
money
it.
into it. But I don't know, not all of them are making money. Like, I'm not really making money. I mean, well, I was working with anti-media, but like that's over because Facebook destroyed that. So, I mean, I could hypothetically sue Facebook myself for losing my income, and a lot of people have lost their income. Not just through this, but
I was going to say, I bet the user license agreement says you can't probably, and you signed it.
Probably.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that, some of the people involved in this latest purge, the people who are familiar with them, who follow them, will want to know what's up. And I'm sure within the next couple days, we'll be able to hear from a lot more of the people involved. It's awesome that you're here, Patty, to talk so soon after it. But do you have any idea of what can come next now? Like, we can't just say, well, they did this, let's start over. That's not enough. What can be done? Any ideas yet?
I'm not even, like, at that point yet. Like, I'm still kind of just freaking out. Like, this happened, and I feel, like, really helpless. Like, what can I do? And I'm thinking a lot, but, like, it's not, I don't really have the answer. And I have, like, some insider information on some other people as well. And, like, crawling up in a fetal position has been mentioned by a couple people. Because, like, all of us, like, at the anti-media and that, like, global revolution and myself, everyone has worked so hard, and people have put so much effort and so much work and so much of their life, and, like, just live and breathe 24 hours a day. This is what they do. They do independent media, and that's been their life, and, it kind of feels like it's over, but nobody's going to give up. But I don't think we're, like, at that point of what next. And that's the really frustrating part, because, usually when something bad happens, then, like, what can you do? And usually that's a clear answer, but there's no clear answer right now. Well, and I know a lot of people are discussing other platforms, like other social media platforms. I think for people on the right, there are some, but for people who aren't on the right, then I don't see those platforms.
Well, here's something to think about. Twitter has offices in San Francisco, New York, Seattle, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Boston, and Chicago. It looks like they're at 150 Pico Boulevard in Santa Monica. They're pretty close. How many people can we get to surround their office and shut it down? Like they shut down people's accounts. Nobody in. Get there early in the morning. Nobody goes in or out. We're shutting your office down today, like you shut down all the good people's accounts.
Well, that sounds good to me, but I mean, that's not going to happen overnight. That's what I mean.
No, because you need like hundreds or 1,000 people or more out there. We need
the information out first. This is, like Patty said, this is still brand new.
Yeah, that's true. I was shocked yesterday. I was looking at people's accounts, and then one after another, after another, after another, after another. I'll start popping up, and I was like, wow. These are like among the best accounts on Twitter. Now they're gone.
I knew something was up because even yesterday in the morning here, I lost about 5 in about an hour. I figured, oh yeah, something's going on.
Yeah, I got worried about you. I was like, not again.
I'm nobody, man. Don't worry about it.
You're not nobody. You're Canadian.
Okay.
Take that for what it's worth. So, yeah. I don't know. Anything else you want to add here, Patty, or say? I know I said that before. Like anything you want people to do that can, you know what I mean? You know, you might not know yet, but anything people could do to help or assist you with whatever you have to do.
I really don't, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, let us know if you find out, and we'll definitely put the word out. Is Feebly is my platform is. Yeah, but we can get stuff out on bigger platforms for people too. You know, if they need help with stuff, just let us know.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, in a lot of ways, this is a conversation between old fags. If there's something we need to get put out, we'll get it put out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So cool. Well, I know you're out in public and you're in a restaurant, so thank you so much for your time and coming on the show to talk about it, and our condolences for your accounts.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Okay, you're always welcome on People's Radio.
Check your email too, Patty.
Okie dokie.
All right. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Glenn, do you want to just skip the last topic and move it on? Because, I mean, it's kind of old and over anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool, yeah, because this stuff took a little bit longer than expected. Plus, we had 2 guests on today. So cool.
That's a massive show.
Yeah. Just, wow. Cool. Well, thank you, Glenn, for being here, and thanks to everyone who's listening or listened or will listen.
Thanks to the Pope.
And especially the Pope. Better get your priest in check. Yeah, see, he hears us, but he doesn't listen.
A lot of that going on.
Dang, Pope. Alright, man, so next week we'll be back. Same place, same time. Hopefully with Nolan Hack returning. And that's that.